Hello and welcome to Game Token Watch with me, Jon Jordan. So this video is about Q1 2019, and I've made a few changes compared to how I looked at the market in 2018. So in 2018 I was pretty much covering any cryptocurrency, any game token that was vaguely related to games. I think we saw in the trajectory of 2018 that a lot of those coins were effectively dead, if not formally deceased. So I've tried to focus a bit more in this video on things that are alive, or at least have a chance of being alive. So I've stripped down a lot of the data, which I think was probably a little bit overwhelming, but for me at least was a learning process. So what have we got here? We've got a pretty graph, but it does have a lot of data and does show some interesting points. So as the title says, this is the relative performance of top game tokens to USD from Q1 2018 to Q1 2019. Let's unpick that a little bit. So what I've done now is I've just taken game tokens that are listed in the top 500 cryptocurrencies on CoinGecko. So CoinGecko is the same as kind of Coin Market Watch or any of those other data providers. Just happens to be the one that I use. Nothing magical about that. But basically, I've tried to kind of cut it down, so I'm not covering like 30 tokens as I was before. I'm just kind of covering stuff that's in the top 500, which is again is not a magical number, but just gives kind of some semblance of activity or kind of some sort of support in terms of kind of market valuations, which is not necessarily anything in and of itself, but hopefully it just gives us some sort of filter on what's going on. So in terms of the duration I'm covering here, you can see each of these tokens has 3 color bars attached to it. So the yellow bar is the quarter-on-quarter performance, again relative to USD. The red bar is 6-month performance, and the blue bar is year-on-year. So what can we see? Starting at the top, we have Engine Coin. So Engine Coin is in the positive on all 3 of those durations. So year-on-year, up about just over 40%. Over 6 months up over 150%, and over quarter-on-quarter up 280%. So pretty good from Engine Coin there. Again, if you are interested more in Engine Coin, you can look at one of the other videos in this YouTube channel, which I go into a bit more detail about why Engine Coin's done so well, particularly in the past quarter. The main reason is Engine Coin is the Engine Coin wallet, mobile wallet, is being integrated into the Samsung S10 family of phones. So tens of millions, probably hundreds of millions of phones are going to have the Engine Coin wallet inbuilt to them. So that has obviously increased the speculative interest in Engine Coin. Obviously, in the wider terms, Engine Coin will have long-term value because the games using Engine Coin will be successful, but that's not where we are at the moment. None of those games are live, so this is just purely a bounce off the back of Samsung. So in next place down, we have Theta. So Theta is a token for the peer-to-peer or decentralized video delivery system from Theta Labs. Using the website Silver TV, I think that's right. And we can see that it was up over 6 months and up quarter-on-quarter, but it's down slightly year-on-year. But still a fairly decent performance, getting on for 130% up quarter-on-quarter. And then I guess the interesting thing to note is all the other coins we're looking at are down year-on-year. As Theta is, but also down over a 6-month period. Everything is up quarter-on-quarter, apart from Mobile Go, which I guess we'll come to at the bottom of the chart there. But going down in order and giving some kind of brief description of what's going on. So after Theta, we have APPC, which is AppCoin. AppCoin is a blockchain-based app store for Android devices, particularly looking at the developing world. So quarter on quarter up, fairly strongly, up over 100%, but down in the year on year and the 6 month. That is still a very early stage for Mapcoin. I mean, the tech works, but it needs to get a lot more support from handset manufacturers in Asia and kind of mobile providers and that kind of stuff. So that's where they are. Next up is Loom. So if you've seen any of my other videos, I'm quite keen supporter of Loom, which is a layer 2 solution for Ethereum and coming to EOS and Tron. But basically just provides a kind of for Ethereum in particular, provides scalability and ability to kind of run things much quicker on a side chain rather than running everything through the main Ethereum network. So that was up quite strongly quarter on quarter, but down over 6 months and a year on year. Next up is it's actually Unicoin. This is Unicoin Gold, which is the all these are ERC20 tokens, so Ethereum based tokens. So Unicoin Gold is Unicoin is a esports betting platform. Actually, platform's really nice. I mean, I've used it. Not quite sure what the user base is like on that, or how big a betting platform on esports is likely to be. But we are in this scenario for March where pretty much everything has had a quarter on quarter at least increase, partly because the Q4 in 2018 was so awful for all cryptocurrencies. So it could be seen in some cases as this is a dead cat bounce, but we'll find out, I suppose, what happens in Q2. Wax again is something that I'm quite interested in. It is a decentralized marketplace for game items, digital game items. Again, a bit like kind of Unicoin, up in Q on Q, but down slightly over 6 months and down quite heavily year on year. In fact, kind of Wax. Partly the problem for Wax is it's waiting to move over from its ERC20 token to an EOS-based token when it gets its EOS blockchain up and running, which it hasn't done yet. So you're kind of waiting with Wax is not a project that actually is kind of properly live yet in a way that something like Loom or Unicoin Gold is. We've got EOS in there just to give a kind of a example of what one of the big blockchain mainnets is doing. And we can see here, down year on year, down over 6 months, up quarter on quarter 50%. Kin, so Kin is the I mean, gaming is a use case for Kin, which has been launched by the kind of Kick mobile social messaging system platform. Gaming will be part of that. Again, they're pretty early. They're just getting to the stage. They have launched their own mainnet now, so actually they've moved from an ERC20 token to a native token. Didn't really see as much kind of uplift around the token value relative to USD as you would expect on that one. Next up, Mana, the token for Decentraland. Again, I'm very interested in Decentraland as a platform. We could see it as a second life, a decentralized second life, with lots of user-generated content, lots of games going into that platform, going live Q2 2019, we expect. So a slight uplift. I mean, Mana's actually performed fairly well over 2018 in the sense that it didn't go down as massively as everything else. So maybe we'll wait to see what happens with that one in Q2. So next up is Ethereum, Ether from Ethereum. Again, just another, just so we can kind of see how one of the big main nets for running dApps is doing. Next up, Referium. When we get to this stage, we're seeing actually quarter-on-quarter uplift is not very much. Referium is a kind of social platform for pushing games. Obviously, a kind of Refer, it has a kind of or will hope to set up a kind of an economy that encourages people, incentivizes people to refer their friends in order to do stuff around games. Not a lot going on there at the moment, as far as I can see from Referium. So I guess that's the reason that not a lot's happening quarter-on-quarter. Now, DMarket. Now, this is interesting. So DMarket was up in a small sense quarter-on-quarter, up, getting on for 50% on a 6 month by 6 month basis. Now, DMarket is a bit like Wax. It is or hopes to be a decentralized marketplace for game items, a secondary kind of marketplace Again, not really live properly yet. So I think we kind of have this idea that there's not people aren't quite sure what to make of it. So down, fairly heavily year on year, up over 6 months, which is a bit of a surprise. Nothing really has happened there yet. But quarter on quarter, I guess because it's been up over a 6 month period, maybe it's fallen back. And then we come to at the bottom there, Mobile Go. Now, Mobile Go is the only one down year on year, 6 months and quarter on quarter. Partly the reason is it had a very strong Q4, so no idea why that happened, but Mobile Go as a token had a very strong Q4 2018. From nowhere really, there's no news around it that would have triggered that, as far as I could see at least. So I think the quarter on quarter sell off, 70% was basically a reaction to what happened in the Q4. So that's where we are at the moment. I guess in the period of time in which in the week after kind of the Q1 period shut, so in the first week in April, which is where we are now, I'm a bit late with this video, we've seen quite a strong uplift across all cryptocurrencies. So I think, I guess we can hopefully say the crypto winter is over, and I definitely think we're starting to see with some of these projects now actual kind of live projects. So certainly app coins we mentioned, that's kind of waiting to roll out. Loom is definitely live and people are staking that coin. It has a whole staking thing going on. Wax, we're expecting to see something in Q2. Mano, expecting to see something in Q2. Kin is sort of live, but it's going to take time to roll that kind of stuff out. So we are starting to see, not just in terms of the dollar value of these tokens, we are actually seeing live product, which is kind of in some ways happy, in some ways a good thing, and in some ways kind of a scary thing, because obviously product is quite a difficult thing to get people into and using. And so I guess we will see in Q2 whether as these projects go live and find success or failure, whether that is reflected in the price as well. But yes, I think it's pretty interesting. I think that the blockchain game sector is certainly entering a more substantive period than we saw in 2018, where basically everything was speculation and there was very little actual kind of hard product being launched. 2019, I'm sure we'll still see a lot of speculation, as we've kind of seen with Engine Coin, but Engine Coin also has a lot of games behind it. So in its multiverse, as it likes to call it, it has I think over a dozen games now. None of them are live yet, but it will be interesting to see how that kind of stuff plays out. So if you're interested in any way in this sort of stuff, please do subscribe to the channel, which is all about looking at the blockchain game space and looking at the tokens that are operating in those games and those game platforms and those products, and seeing kind of what happens with them. Should point out, obviously this is not investment advice, this is just looking in retrospect about what happened. So don't take the wrong idea away from these videos. If you have any comments, please stick them in the comments box. Always interested to read that, and don't forget to subscribe. But thanks for watching the video, and come back next quarter and see how we got on then.